So most people think that the hardest part of being a business coach is finding clients. That is actually not it at all. The hardest part is watching somebody stand inches away from the life that they say that they want and realizing that you can't want it more than they do. You guys know the kind of people I'm talking about that say they want change or they say they want something, yet when it's time to take action, they stay exactly where they are. There's all these sayings out there like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But as a business coach, this is wildly, I don't even know if it can be frustrating, but it is the hardest part about being a coach is really seeing people inches away from their own success and they can't get themselves over the hump. So we're going to talk about that today. Welcome back to the Messy Success Podcast, where your growth is our favorite topic. I'm your host, Elizabeth Henson, and here on the podcast, we share behind the scenes of building a business using our community-based marketing and real-life lessons that make your business easy and profitable. We help you combine your dharma, your unique skills, and your offers to build the business of your dreams on your terms. I don't give average business advice. I'm here to help you unlock the superpowers that are already within you. So make sure to follow along, and I promise you will start becoming even more magnetic and you will see your own community grow around your brand. All right, so let's get into it. This is going to be a really interesting episode because, this is an interesting topic that would be very easy for me to start ranting or being negative or calling people out. We're not doing any of this, okay? And for my Elevate students, I know you guys are probably listening to this like, oh my gosh, is she talking about me? Who's she talking about? Now, we all know that I do tend to pull inspiration from my real life or from real people that I'm working with. But this today is going to be much more of a broad topic around the trends that I have seen after doing this for 10 years. I've been mentoring or coaching people for 10 years. I've really probably only been good at it for the last 5, but this is something that I see happen all the time. And it's actually not usually my students where I see this happen. It's usually the people that resist getting help the most. They resist getting help in the first place. And I see this happen with people that, message me or say that they want to come to one of my events, and I do everything I can, give them a free ticket, make it really easy for them to get there, and they just won't even get themselves there. Or the people that will book a call and then cancel, or the people that say they want to work with me or another coach, not specifically just me, and they keep putting it off and putting it off. Now, does this happen with my clients? Sure, it does, but in a much different way. So we're going to talk a little bit about both. But, most people actually know exactly what they should be doing to build their business, especially if they worked with me, because we map it all out in the marketing phase where we're mapping out their revenue goal, their action items, and all they have to do is show up for those action items. And that's where they get stuck, and that's where the coaching happens. But that's not really what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here is the people, the type of human beings that get really stuck in their circumstances instead of opportunity. And so I have this phrase that I love to use called, we must be able to see our opportunity over our circumstance, or instead of, or before our circumstance. You cannot get out of your current situation and into your dream life or your dream results if you cannot get out of your own circumstance. And the part where this becomes frustrating is when you've seen people inches away from a decision that could change everything, but instead all they can see is their circumstance. And then they're going on social media and they're ranting about how hard it is, or they're ranting about how they don't have money and everything is so hard. And as a coach and somebody who sees opportunity everywhere, all I can see is the opportunity that they are overlooking. Now, if you've been to any of my events or you've worked with me, you know about this red car example that I use all the time. And this is what I mean by opportunity. So if I was to tell you that I would pay you $500 every time you saw a red car on your way home, you would see a ton of red cars, right? But if I didn't say that at all, then you would not see those red cars because you wouldn't be hyper focused on it. So most people are hyper focused on, let's say, the blue car, which is their barriers or their circumstances. So they're not even seeing the red cars that they could cash in on because the red cars represent opportunity. So imagine what becomes possible when you take your attention off the blue cars, which represent circumstance, and then you put your attention on the red cars that represent opportunity. And you don't even have to do anything. That is literally just placing your attention on something that serves you different or better. But people struggle with that. And they're usually one decision away from a wildly different situation. But they won't make the decision, right? They won't make the decision to see the opportunity or to even know that it's out there. But most people actually know what they're supposed to be doing. They should be sending the emails, raising their prices, making the offers, having hard conversations, hiring help. This is a big one. I see so many people get stuck when it's time to scale their business. I see this all the time with like bakers or anyone in the service industry that has a maximum capacity of what they can create or book. And then they get to this plateau where they're like, I can't possibly take on any more. And they're not comfortable raising their prices and they're not comfortable hiring. So therefore, they can't grow anymore. When I was a wedding photographer, this is a very real thing that could happen. If I could only book, but so many weddings in a year, there's 52 Saturdays in a year. So let's say I book every single wedding, which isn't really going to happen that way. But let's just say we book every single Saturday for a year and I'm priced at a certain price point. That means I'll never be able to make more money than that unless I either raise my prices or hire help and do more outsourcing. But most people stay really stuck. So that's kind of what I'm talking about is like this plateau or this inability to make a really hard decision that will take you into your next level of growth, whether that's just getting started or whether you already have seen a great deal of success and you're ready to scale. And that is 100% the hardest part as a coach is knowing that you can see it for someone, but they won't actually make the decision themselves. So when I can see what's possible for someone, it's almost like I can see this alternate future that they could step into and they're choosing not to, right? It's like the hardest thing for someone that literally I live my life just trying to help other people start businesses or find success or whatever it would be. But I can't transfer that courage. I can't transfer that belief into someone else. They have to experience it for themselves. And it's funny because when I hear other coaches talking about this, my ego mind goes to, well, you're not asking them the right questions and you're not, doing your job as a coach. And there is some of that. There's a huge amount of accountability that I carry to asking someone the questions that will unlock that realm of opportunity or possibility for them. Okay. That is my responsibility. But we can unlock it, but I can't do it for them. And luckily, I don't necessarily attach any of my worth to my clients' success or to other people's success. Because, like I said, I'm doing my part in asking the questions that unlock them having this inner knowing of what they need to do. It's a matter of whether they'll do it. And like I said in the beginning, this actually isn't really about my clients for the most part because they've already done the hard thing, which is to get help. right? Which is to invest in a support team to helping them reach their goals. That is a hard decision. Now, are they going to get stuck? Are they going to plateau? Of course. Have I had people drop out of my program? Yes, I have. And that's really hard because we sat on a call. We mapped out their action items. We both know these action items will equal success, right? For fact, I'm not guaranteeing how fast, but if you do these actions, you will get success. We both know that. We sit and we agree on that. But then they're not taking the actions because life is lifing. I've done a whole another episode on that, how to show up when life is lifing or whatever might be in the way. But we have to work together as a team to move that thing out of the way, right? Now let's talk about the ones that aren't working with me because that's really where I see this the most. I kind of keep going back and forth because they are very different scenarios, right? Because the people who have hired, whether it's me or whether it's somebody else, the people that have already made that hard decision to have a support team and to get help, they're kind of already halfway there, right? They're learning to do these scary, expansive things in order to get a result. But the people who haven't made that decision, like making money is hard. I see this all the time. It's so hard to make money. I'm broke. I can't find clients. I mean, just the circumstance. And here is like where I'm going to be real with y'all and have one of those Rafiki bop you over the head moments, as my client Rocky likes to say. Making money is not hard. Okay. Now, I cannot guarantee wealth for anyone, but I can guarantee you that making money is easy. So this whole idea of like making money is hard, the economy, anytime there's something wrong with the economy or the recession, I promise you there's opportunity. Look at all the recessions that we've had and how, yes, things might be down in one area, but there's a wild amount of opportunity in another. I mean, look at how many people, made insane amounts of money during COVID because they saw a problem that they could solve. Okay. You can solve problems. You can build a business. That's all business is solving problems. Okay. So back to this making money is easy thing. And I love Gary Vee for this, right? Because it's like literally you can go to a yard sale and you can flip items. And this fascinates me because I've shared with you guys my recent obsession with this app called Whatnot and how much fun I've had shopping on Whatnot. And my business brain loves to like see how many sales these people have made and just do an average. Like if I know they're selling things for $5, let's just pretend that they're selling things for $3 and they're having like 19,000 sales, some of them like 80,000 sales, like actual items. And, my brain is like doing the math and I'm like, these people are making butt tons of money, literally just reselling stuff, clothes, household items, whatever. This kind of like sustainable initiative and reselling. I think that's just called professional reselling, right? These people are making great money. I just saw $1 million business model of someone who's literally just reselling clothing. So you can't tell me that you're not smart enough or that you're not capable because you can clean out your own closet. You can have your friends donate items. You can go, there's like the bin days where you can get entire bins for really cheap. I mean, I don't know how all these people are doing it, but these are normal everyday people and they're making butt tons of money literally just selling Facebook Marketplace. We met someone recently who's getting cars at an auction and flipping cars. Like there is so much opportunity to make money. Now, again, I'm not here to guarantee wealth, but this whole idea of I can't, that makes me crazy as a business coach who has free events with communities just ready to support people, who has a podcast with nothing but tips and strategies on how to build a business that's totally free, has a free email news. I mean, I have free content for days. So anyone that is stuck in their circumstances of I can't make money. And I'm like, if you have the internet and you're sitting here engaging on social media, you can make money. Okay. I'm not here to say how much, but you can definitely make money. What you put into it, you'll get out. And I'm not saying that from like a work really hard. Like I will never be the business coach that's like, you got to grind and hustle harder. No, the first thing I learned was how to only work 20 hours a week. And I mastered that skill before I even mastered the skill of turning that into butt tons of money. Right. But I had to master the lifestyle piece first. Now, my friend Angie, we always laugh because it's like she kind of mastered the revenue piece and then she had to learn the lifestyle piece because you'll see so many entrepreneurs burn out because they haven't mastered the lifestyle piece. And we don't want that for you. Okay. So let's look at this in a metaphor. So imagine that you're standing at the edge of a diving board. Okay. And your swim coach, your diving coach has taught you everything you need to know. You've got, over the hardest part, which is climbing up there and getting to the edge. And the coach can explain how deep the water is. She can explain how it's going to affect you. She can explain what to do. But the coach can't actually do the jump, right? Or get you off the edge. That's the decision piece. So you can, I know people that are so obsessed with buying all the courses and all the hacks and all the challenges. They've bought all the things. You can have all the things. But if you don't make the decision, you'll never get the results. And that's what it is. It always boils down to a moment or a decision, not a knowing or a being smart or intelligent. It has nothing to do with that. You can make millions upcycling clothing, and that requires, some intelligence, sure, but you don't have to be a genius. There's opportunity everywhere. The red cars are everywhere. So what if you challenged yourself to be able to see the opportunity instead of the circumstance? If you can do that one thing, your whole situation could change. Okay, yeah, let's tie myself into this a little bit so that this is all coming from a really human place. No matter what level you get to in your business or in your life, there's always going to come a time where you know what the next step is. And this happens to me every single day, every single week. And I have to coach myself through making the hard decision. This doesn't really end, right? That's why I said it doesn't matter if you're just getting started or if you're scaling. This cycle of decision making and pushing yourself to that edge of discomfort, it doesn't go away. It just continues. And you kind of get better at this skill of making quick decisions and not sitting on them. So the goal as a coach isn't to rescue people, right? It's to remind them of their own agency, their own ability to make decisions. And not even just empowerment, right? Like this, like, you're enough, you can do it. Like that's just cheerleading, right? It is my job to have those Rafiki stick over the head moments because it's not about me making friends. It's not about people liking me. It's reminding you of your own agency and your own ability to choose, right? And those actions, every time you push up against that level of discomfort, that is the growth right there. If you can experience that again and again and again, that is the growth. And I said I would use an example of myself. So let's just use this podcast studio that I just moved in June 1st, I believe. And now we're towards the end of July. So we're like 2 months into having this podcast studio. It's like, this is the closest it's been to being done. I'm so excited. We'll continue to make improvements. But this was a very stretchy and uncomfortable decision that I had been wanting for about a year. Not necessarily sitting in indecision, but just like this inner knowing that it was something that I wanted. This called an opportunity that I wanted. So I became open to paying attention to that being an opportunity. And then there is this element of surrender, right? But it never came down to, I can't, I don't have enough, it's too expensive, it's too hard. None of those thought processes happened. It was, how can I be open to this being a possibility and start to pay attention? And then I paid attention and I paid attention and I paid attention. And then eventually this opportunity that felt perfect opened up. And they were doing an incredible promo deal, right? Where had I jumped in too fast, I might have missed that opportunity. But then had I gone too slow, I might have missed that opportunity. So there is an element of surrender and patience in all of this. But when it comes to that edge of decision, for example, I knew the promo was only going to last for the month of May, had to make my decision in the month of May. So there I'm up against this opportunity to make a decision. Was it uncomfortable? Yes. Was it stretchy? Yes. Was it beyond what I actually thought I was going to do? Yes. But again, those are opportunities to nudge up against that growth and play the what's the worst thing that could happen game. Worst thing that could happen is my money gets tight and I have to cancel the studio or I go into debt. What's the worst that could happen? And the way that I weigh those options, this is where I get to sound like a crazy Delulu person, is like, if I spend thousands of dollars, but I help one person who happens to listen to the podcast, or my studio, having the studio somehow allows me to help one person. What better place to put my money in the world? And that's it. I'm so committed. I'm so committed to my purpose and why I'm here and why I do the work that I do, that those decisions just become like this part of it. Okay, what's the worst that could happen? I spend a lot of money helping people. What better way to spend my money? I'd rather spend it on that than a Ferrari. I am going to be getting myself a new car in 2027. That is on my bucket list, but not a Ferrari. Right? Because it's like, if I have the choice to spend money, grow my business, help more people, that's such a duh moment for me. Now, if your motivation is simply in the making money and you're more excited by, upselling or reselling, don't do that if that doesn't bring you joy. I love thrifting. I love that stuff. I'm like, there's so many business ideas floating in my head that I'm like, I would just do that because it's fun. So don't choose something that isn't fun for you. But just know, if you really are in a bind where money feels difficult for you, I want you to know that the opportunity is everywhere. You're choosing not to allow it in. You're choosing the blue cars, which represent circumstance, instead of the red cars that represent opportunity. That's your choice. That's your choice. You are choosing to be stuck in your circumstance. And I'm not saying that we don't go through hard shit. I'm not saying we shouldn't accept help or ask for help. Trust me, I have empathy for days. But I wouldn't be who I am and have the job that I have if I didn't help people get over that circumstance, their hurdles, their humps. Because believe me, my clients and my students have been through some hard shit too. We all have. We all have. I am the queen of being the strong friend that nobody checks on. We're all going through shit, my friends. But I wake up every day and I choose opportunity over my circumstance. All right. The last couple of things, I think that's pretty much it. I just shared this on Threads a few minutes ago. This is a really good one that says, I've never watched someone think their way into a different life. I've only watched people decide their way into one. So opportunity, it doesn't always look like this big, bright, shining star of opportunity. It actually is going to look or feel more like discomfort. And the people that build these extraordinary lives, they learn to tell the difference. So that's it. How can you get really playful and really curious about understanding the difference, an opportunity and circumstance, and know that it usually comes in the form of discomfort, not in the form of like this golden light door that opens up for you. It's in the uncomfortable decision. So, no more ranting on social media, you guys, about how making money is difficult, or else I'm coming for you. Okay? I'm coming to swoop you up. And I hope that this was helpful for you guys. So, as always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening to the Messy Success Podcast. And I love you all. And I will see you next week. Yay! Thank you so much for being here and pushing play today. It really means the world to have you here, and this podcast wouldn't exist without you. If you're curious about your next step in business, don't forget to take our next step action quiz at elizabethhenson.co/next, and it will tell you exactly what is your next move. If you love this podcast, be sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, or leave us a review. It truly means the world to us and keeps us going. If you have a question or maybe a barrier in your business, we would love to invite you to submit your question, and we are even starting a new series where we will be coaching live on the air. So if you want to hear more about that or have your question answered, or just maybe feel brave and vulnerable to share about your business here on the podcast and get some support live on air, go to elizabethhenson.co/ask, and we really hope to hear from you. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.